So hello everybody, welcome back. I hope that you like this video and that you find it helpful somehow, and if you do, then good job for me. So anyway, grab your coffee, and if you wanted to share one with me while you're at it, links for that down below. Thank you very much, I really appreciate it, and here we go. So I'm doing this video because I have talked about propane a lot. I have talked about the cooking wood process a lot, and I have talked to you about cooking with electricity a lot and things like this, and people seem to have a misconception when it comes to handling fuel for cooking, and the consequences of this are huge and are beyond what you're thinking. The reason being, cooking is a process that is universal. That means every single person that you meet will have to either be fed by somebody who is cooking or do the cooking themselves. And this means that it is going to be a system. And that means that rules are out of the window. And I do mean out of the window. The reason being that systems are kind of like a female energy. They are crazy, and therefore they are not logical. Also, systems are interconnected one way or another one. And so if you are a man and you're thinking that, it's as easy as you getting wood when you don't have propane, yes, you're right. But at the same time, you're wrong. Reason being, it is a system. And so there is no way that you're going to understand how this is going to affect you. Reason being, there are at least, and I do mean at least, 20 things about cooking with wood that you do not understand. And you cannot put it together. Reason being, you're thinking simple and you're thinking easy. The reason being that, you're thinking logically. And in hard times, logic is out of the window. And at the same time, the situation with the females is not going to go logical. And the females are the ones that are doing mostly the cooking. And so, the situation, not manageable. And I do mean not manageable. Because you will have every single person that you know having the same problem. And each group, and I don't mean like the person who is cooking, each group will solve these problems entirely different. And each group will do things based upon their primary preferences. That means they will do things without thinking, they will do things without understanding, they will do things without having the means to do it. They will do things by stealing. They will do things legally and illegally. They will do things, without proper precautions or anything. Reason being, it's hard times and nobody has energy to deal with anything. Also, hard times means you're looking for comfort over anything. Really, it's just you are looking for comfort over anything. It's the reason why, people during hard times will spend thousands in TV and in cable and things like this, rather than spending on education or, other topics, because those topics require energy, and all of your energy has already spent. Why? Well, because you are stressed out to beyond your limit, especially if you are a woman. And if you're a woman and you now have a man, that means comfort first. I don't care how you do it. And so bad things are going to happen because of that mixture. So, having said that, then let's compare. I have mentioned that when you're cooking, you need to understand fuel. So how do you understand fuel? So first of all, you need to understand what type of fuel do you have. So, basically we have four types. Well, we have 5, but fire, which can be done by burning coal or burning wood or burning anything. And I don't mean anything. People will try to do fires with chemicals or anything. Anything will work. That means, burning things like alcohol or things that are oils and stuff like this. It's just whatever it works. And so, but it's fire. Second one is propane. That one is the single, by definition, is not even second to none. It's just, it's not even in comparison. It's not even in the same league as the other fuels. The propane is just irreplaceable. Seriously, it's just irreplaceable. Reason being, you have fire, but you don't have anything that burns with it. As in no solid, it's just gas. Therefore, it has all kinds of characteristics that are unique because you're not burning something solid. That means that there is no residue, and that means that you can control the flame. You can do so many things with propane that you cannot do when you're burning something solid. So that is the main difference. The other one will be electricity. This one, if you consider that it's okay that you do not need wood or propane or anything because you can cook with electricity because you have a generator in case that something goes wrong. Yeah, let me tell you that cooking devices, especially the burners, they will use so much energy that if you turn your generator on and you turn the cooking device on and you turn a couple of other things on, you will damage the generator or you will have issues because the amount of energy that these things require, because anything that produces heat, as in ironing, air conditioners, and cooking devices that produce heat. Yeah, heaters, by the way, also in this category. Those things, if you have them connected to a generator and you have two of them, the generator will collapse, very likely. It's just insane. The reason being for that collapse is because the energy that you require will very likely not match the production of your generator. So a lot of people did not understand this in the beginning. It is a very, very amateur kind of mistake, and most people will go through this. And when you have this problem, not only will you damage the generator or you will have issues, but you might damage the equipment that you have. And not only that, but now you are going to be in trouble. Because if you were thinking that you do not need anything to cook, but now you were counting on this and this is not working, you still need to cook. And now, not only that, but you lost the source of power. And so there are so many things that can go wrong and very likely will go wrong. And if they don't go wrong with you, they will go wrong with your neighbor, and they will go wrong with your friends, and they will go wrong with other people, because you are not the only one who is going through this. And so if there is no propane, people will have to find, the other alternatives. And most people will try to find coal and wood. And at this point, like I said, it's going to be a huge issue because a lot of accidents will happen. And so if you live in a building, for example, a lot of accidents means you might come back to, you might go to your work. And when you come at 6 p.m. and you're tired and you're nothing, you find the police saying, yeah, you can't go home anymore because, there was an explosion and things like this. And just nobody's allowed in your building anymore. And so you just lost your home because there was an accident. Because of people cooking with wood, people cooking with propane and having accidents because they don't understand propane. People having problems with fuel explosions, as in gasoline explosions. and a lot of other things. And so, is this going to be, an issue? Yes. It might not affect you, but it will definitely affect one way or another one. Somebody that you know, and it's going to be very, very, very bad. And so, the last choice for you to cook is solar. The problem about cooking with solar might be the space, because when you're cooking with solar, it's not like you're going to cook, in 4 stoves and things like this at the same time and you're controlling the whole thing or whatever. Number one, you need planning. You need way more planning than propane. With propane, you need the coffee, you go, turn it on, that's it, you're done. But with the solar, you're trying to get the solar to get a coffee. Yeah, you might need more time and you might need, planning. As in, what is the best angle to put this thing on, and should I move it? Should I leave it? Should I, do so many things? And so you getting your coffee, yeah, not 5 minutes, not. It can take, let's say, half an hour at the very minimum. And so this is what you need to understand between the 4 fuels that you're getting. Also, you need to understand that the type of fuel, like I said, is important. You have 4. Then you have the cooking or the heating process. When you are dealing with this, I am talking about specific things like the time and the temperature and the style that you're cooking. So let me explain this. Let's say that you're frying eggs. If you're frying eggs, it's easy if you have wood fire or propane fire or even solar or other stuff, because you're just cooking eggs, which is easy. But if you're cooking rice, not the same. And if you're cooking beans, not the same. And if you're cooking meat, not the same. And if you're cooking something else, not the same. Why? Well, because these are things that require time, control of the temperature, and they require you being there. And, it's not the same. It's not nearly the same. So if you're doing something easy like get a coffee and just reheat it or prepare a coffee, that you can do with the 4 basics, because all you're doing is boiling water and then you're done. Boiling water can be done, you don't need a temperature. You just boil the water and that's it. However, if you're cooking something, then how do you make sure that the center is not, burned or raw while the outside is burned? Because you need the fire to be very small or slow or stuff like this, like when you're cooking rice or when you're cooking beans or something like this, and stuff like this is not nearly the same. Seriously, it's just not the same. And let's say that even if you wanted to bake a pizza, or you wanted to make a pizza, you might need to understand how to bake and how to do this, without having control of the fire if you're using wood, for example. Because especially if this is your first time doing this. And then you need to understand, what are you cooking? What is the style of cooking? As in, are you frying it? Are you boiling it? Are you roasting it? Are you broiling it? Are you, I don't know, whatever it is that you're doing. And the second part is that you need to understand how these 4 things will affect your lifestyle, which is the biggest problem. And I do mean the biggest problem by far. So let's say that now we're talking about propane. Your lifestyle is unaffected. You just press a button, you have the fire, you know how to turn it on, off, you are safe, you know, what else is there to know? You're done. You prepare everything and you're done. Also, if you're dealing with propane, it might not be a problem. Because let's say that you live in a building and propane comes from the pipe that is already in the building. So you don't even have to go and buy propane or get propane or anything, because it's already included in the building. So no problem whatsoever, right? So your lifestyle is basically kind of like, yeah, I have time for everything. Because, cooking is just me cutting and preparing and preparing the food and making sure that it is done and cooked, and that's it. And I'm serving it and eating. However, if you are going to use the other method of cooking, cooking is going to be a nightmare for it. Reason being, so let's say that you need wood. So number one, where are you going to store this wood? Number two, how frequently do you need to go and buy the food, buy this wood? Or how frequently do you need to go to the forest and get this wood? Okay, very, very, very important. Because, if propane, you needed to buy once every other week, or let's say once every other month, or once a month, no big deal. It's just once a month. What is your lifestyle change? Nothing. It's just a 1 hour. It's nothing. But if you're cooking wood, move that wood, because you gotta move it from the place that you have it up until the place that you're cooking. That means physical labor, and that means time. That also means the storage space. That also means that this storage space, you might want to have it outside of your house. Reason being, when you get wood, a lot of people think it's so easy, just get the wood and put it outside. Not so easy. You see, wood is a natural environment for animals. What does that mean? Well, wood basically can be contaminated by termites. And if not contaminated by termites, it can also be contaminated by other insects and things like this that will be inside the wood. And a lot of people don't know. And if you happen to get wood that has termites on it, and you get it to your kitchen or whatever place that you're cooking, those things, as soon as you put them, near fire or whatever, they are going to try to jump and be alive. And so they are going to contaminate everything in your house. And I do mean everything, from your walls to your roof to your furniture, your bed, the tables, and everything. So, are you certain 100%? 99.9, no, doesn't, no, that won't cut it. It is either 100% or no. That one is like a thing. Are you 100% sure that the wood that you have does not have any kind of contamination related to termites or insects or anything like that? Other things, wood, not all the same. What does that mean? Well, it's not all the same. It's so much to the point that some wood is used for smoking food, and others is just for cooking, and others, the wood is so bad for cooking that it's just unusable for cooking. Oh, well, because the whole thing is just not going to, the fire is not going to even get the temperature strong enough to even boil the water. Because not all wood will get to the same temperature. And on top of all of these things that I just mentioned, let's say that everybody else is getting wood because nobody can find propane. So I can tell you right now that in the small towns where people did not get propane, and on the countryside where people did not get propane, average temperature rose in those places 2 degrees Celsius. So it went from 28 to 30, or from 30 to 32, or from 32 to 34, and sometimes even 35. The heat in these places is beyond. My God, seriously, even I in my country, even I feel like what I can't breathe. Reason being, well, let's see, if there were 100 trees before, now there are only 20. Because every single person, just like you, decided to chop down the trees. So, no more trees. Also, because there are no trees, no more birds. So you're thinking, yeah, so, well, let's see, no more birds. When there was a problem with one bird, and I do mean one, just one, in China, because the emperor said, let's kill that bird because it's demonic, and the bird was almost extinct. The famine that followed that killed over 20 million people because they destroyed one bird. So, well, let's see. You're killing the insects because, no tree means no insects. And you are killing the birds. No birds means no pollination and no nothing. That means, yeah, next year, in the first couple of years or maybe 5 years, you won't see anything. But 5 years down the road, yeah, famine. And no way to go behind it. Also, because of this problem, yeah, there were issues about water. What do you mean? Well, you see, when there is a storm or anything, the trees are the ones that soak up all the water. And if there is no tree, that means that there is erosion. If there is erosion and you're near a mountain or near a place like this, that means that there will be a lot of houses. And there will be a lot of places that will just, let's say that you have, let's put it like this. Let's see. Let's pretend that this thing over here is like a mountain and your house is here. And so no trees and not a lot of things means that all the water that is supposed to be down or up to here and it is supposed to be, retained by all the trees, yeah, that water is not there, but it is running free. So you can expect this house, this house, this house, this house, this, and this and that. All of these houses to be dead, as in to the bottom. So the incidence of no propane in these particular areas where there are mountains and people get wood all the time, the incidence of accidents like this happening because of erosion and because of problems like this is very, very, very high. And even buildings, if you have a slope, even the smallest slope ever, water will definitely take down your building at one point or another one, because there is nothing that will stop the water, and there is nothing like that, all because there was no propane. So short term, is it going to happen tomorrow just because you did it once? No, but it will happen. My God, seriously, it will happen, and it is going to be very, very, very bad, because I can see the statistics of all of these things in my country, and the statistics goes like this. Before Chavez, in my entire life, I heard of one fire, and it was arson, and the guy who did it was in jail. Okay, and it was such a huge scandal that people went mad. My God, seriously, people were afraid of even sleeping. People were like, oh, what about if there is a fire? We're all going to be dead. Kind of like that. It was a panic thing. No, fire in my country? Seriously? How? No. No one knew about fires. And if there ever was a fire, like a small wildfire or whatever, it was just, there were firefighters all over and there was no problem. After Chavez, yeah, fires started to be reported like, once every other year. Then it was like once or twice a year. Right now, you can see apartments on fire or blown up buildings because of the propane situation and wood situation and things like this, at least once every other week. Sometimes once every 10 days. And sometimes once a week. So you went from never to once a week. So suck upon that statistic. And that is just for the propane problems and the fuel problems, as in people trying to blow up the cars, and people blowing up the cars, people blowing up everything because they don't understand gasoline, and they do not understand diesel, and they do not understand propane. Those three things, people don't get it. You will have all kinds of accidents, and you will hear about it at least once a week. So you want to play roulette with that? Good luck with that one. So next one. Next one about the wood situation. Like I said, the temperature in these places, it was so bad. And people started realizing that before, if you were outside, in the countryside, it was normal that people, even if there was, people mugging you and stuff like this, people still go out, and because it is no problem. In terms of, people already know that, you already know that if you're going to go out, you don't go out with your cell phone, and you don't go out with this, and you don't go out like that. And depending upon where you are, you already know what time you're supposed to go out and things like this, so you're okay. However, because of the wood problem, now there are no trees whatsoever. That means, basically, you trying to ride a bike with the sun, yeah, you're dead. No, seriously, you will be dehydrated, and you will have red skin, and you are very likely just going to collapse without you walking 100 meters. To the point in which your skin will actually feel like you are burning inside out because of the sun. Now, you could argue that my country is in the equator, and this is, a problem because my country is in the equator. Yeah, I would like to know, if you have problems with heat in the summer. And I would like to know if you have problems with the sun when you go out. And I would like to know, if you go out right now, how many trees do you see when you're walking around your neighborhood? And what will you do if there is absolutely not one tree in all of the blocks that you're walking by? What exactly are you going to do to protect yourself from the elements? And I do mean all elements. Because sometimes, if it is raining, you can still use the trees. I mean, you shouldn't, because it is going to be a lightning experience, and you might die of a lightning, problem. So, no, you're not meant to do that. But at least you can, run near. I'm not saying put yourself next to the tree, but at least you can use somewhat cover and stuff like this. And also, like I said, if there is only one tree and there is erosion happening, that tree is going to fall down and is going to destroy a house. Very likely. Reason being, well, if there is erosion, if you have a soil and you need to protect the soil so that every tree can be grounded, you need at least, I don't know, let's say 5 trees per block. 5 trees per block, the roots will be stable. But if they are not stable, then the situation with the erosion, even within a regular block, it will be huge, and the tree will very likely fall down. And if that tree falls down, well, let's just hope it doesn't fall into your house, or it doesn't fall into into your car, or stuff like this. Because erosion happens more frequently where there are no trees. If you have 20 trees, the likelihood of those 20 trees, one of them collapsing is low, very, very, very low. It has to be a problem with that particular tree. Like you put it with the wrong type of root situation with the water and things like this, so you didn't understand the root thing on the tree. But other than that, the probability of that happening is just low. However, if there is only one tree in your block and there is erosion problems or water problems, yeah, that tree is dead. That tree is very likely going to collapse. And so when there is only one tree, people will go, let's cut it. And people will cut it. Why? Well, because people know that that tree is going to collapse. And so before it collapses and destroys your house, you're going to shut it down. And so a lot of people will be doing this, shutting down. Also, let me tell you about other stuff related to the wood problem. It will be that if you are touching a tree that it is in an endangered species or anything like this, then your neighbors will call the police and your neighbors will call everybody and you can go to jail. Seriously. I mean, you have no idea how much of the drama is and how much it will cost you in terms of bribing, time, and all kinds of things if you touch a tree that you are not meant to touch. Like a national tree or an endangered kind of tree or a tree that is on the street and you needed the permit to cut down that thing. And it's insane. And even if it is in your own garden, sometimes you might need permits to get those things. And getting a permit, that means you have to pay. That also means you need to spend time trying to get the permit. That means that this wood that you're cutting in your house or you're cutting down the street or you're cutting anywhere is costing you money. And not only is costing you money, but a lot of other things. And so dealing with the wood problem, not easy. Seriously, it's a drama situation. It's a drama in which you are creating famine because you are destroying the birds, you are destroying the insects, you are attracting insects to your house, you are destroying the soil, therefore there is erosion, therefore your house foundations might be compromised. And if your house foundations are compromised, I do not need to tell you that you might be homeless, especially if there is a big storm or a big problem later. And so, you still want me to continue with this topic about wood? Seriously, the wood situation, insane. And you're thinking, but it's just me. No, it's not just you. Oh, and by the way, there is also another problem. Wood, if you don't store it properly, it will create fungi. That means these fungi can be harmful. And in some aspects, if you move wood and this fungi that has the spores get into your lungs, you can actually develop a lot of diseases because you're handling wood. See, these are things that you do not know because you don't handle wood on a daily basis. A lot of people that handle wood on a daily basis, they know. And so it's fun when you talk to these people because they are looking at the people that do not know and they're like, you are so stupid. I cannot believe that you have survived. Seriously. And most of the people from the countryside will be kind of like, city people are amazing. They are so stupid. And I have no idea how they make it. They only know about money. They know nothing else. They seriously will die. Oh, and by the way, handling the wood fire and things like this, that also means that you do not understand about the temperature and about the fact that, let's say that you were cooking, I don't know, let's say that you were boiling eggs. So if you were using propane, get the water, throw the eggs, leave. Come back. Yeah. If you're cooking with the wood, yeah, did you blow the fire? Yeah, did you move the fire? Yeah, did you make sure that the whole thing is okay? Oh, and by the way, if you have kids and pets, yeah, they will be attracted to you see, when there is a propane situation, you already have problems with the kids because if you are cooking and the kid is near, you might burn them, right? And that is with this stove, it is set up in a height that no kid is going to be able to manage to get it. So if you're a 2-year-old and you're trying to get to get the propane situation or whatever, you can't because it's too high. And so you will need to put a share or something to be able to cook and all of these things because basically it's in the setup for this thing is in a height that is calculated so that the kids cannot access these things. But if you're cooking with wood, yeah, the wood is very likely going to be near the ground. That means very likely going to be with kids or pets. And so kids will run and they will be burned. You have no idea how many accidents happen with kids and pets when there is wood cooking. So much to the point in which now the adults have to set up near a lot of things for the kids so that they will understand that you are not allowed to get in there, not even near that place. Because a lot of people will just think, yeah, the fire is here, so this thing is, I can just grab it with grab it with your hand, right? A lot of people will be burnt because they don't understand this one. And kids, yeah, they are at the reach of this thing. And because you are used to the idea of not having the kid near you or whatever, you will forget that the kids, now can access the fire. Seriously, they will be even throwing things on the fire thinking that it's going to be okay. They might even find it amusing to just throw things into the fire, including but not limited to things that might explode. Because they are kids. They are animals with no training whatsoever. And they will think it's funny. Seriously, they will think it's funny. Because of the sound or because of the colors that these things produce. It's bad. Very, very, very bad. The next one is not just that one, but like I said, the timing and the fact that, you will have to put up even more wood. See, with the propane, you don't even have to, reconnect or whatever. You have to do it, once a month or something like this, like I said. But with the wood, if it is consumed, you need more. Oh, and now you need to clean. Because every time that there is wood or anything that it is solid, it will create ashes. And not only it will create ashes, but it will create the black thing, the smoke thing. And that smoke thing is going to contaminate everything that you have nearby. So now you gotta clean more. Now you gotta be aware of the kids. Now you gotta, be with the fire all the time. Now you gotta figure out how to turn it off, because before all you had to do was just press a button, but now you gotta turn it off. Then you gotta turn it on again. And for turning it on, you gotta figure out, because a lot of people will just throw let's say that you throw in there the match. Yeah, that won't work. I'm sorry, but that's horrible. At this point, I have mentioned this before. What you really, really, really want is a very long lighter. Very long. The longest that you can have it, the better. Seriously, the longest one that you can get is the better. Because if you have a lighter and you're trying to get the fire going, yeah. Oh my God, seriously, that is... You have to be very skillful to do all this work. Seriously, you have to be very skillful. And you have to be very patient. And if you have stuff like arthritis, or you hit your hand accidentally, or you just don't feel very well, you are not going to be able to set up the fire with just the lighter and things like this, unless it is a long lighter. And oh my God, and there are a lot of other things like you set it up and then the fire is off. 2 minutes later, the fire is off. And then you're like, what happened? Oh my. Yeah, you forgot. What? Well, you're supposed to add something. What do you mean add something? I don't know. Add something like alcohol for burning or oil or whatever it is, because if you put wood, there is a reason why, in the forest, wildfire, in some instances, it just disappear. Why? Well, because, even if you try to burn an entire tree, sometimes it will just burn one branch and then the fire will just stop. Even though that it can consume the whole tree, it won't. Why? Well, because there are a lot of reasons. One of them will be the wind, the temperature of the fire, so many things. The humidity of the wood, the type of the wood, the height of the wood. Oh my God, seriously, there are so many things that, the fire will just be out on its own. And so at this point, after you spend, a lot of time trying to cook this thing, yeah, the fire is out. And then you're kind of like, what? Yeah, it's out. Turn it on again. To the point in which, at this point, I can tell you that if you are in the countryside, people will rather keep the fire going for days straight rather than turn it off and trying to turn it on again. Because turn it off and turning on, a process. Because if you turn it off and you don't know what you're doing, the fire will actually come back up. And then you're like, what? Yeah, fire will revive itself, kind of like a phoenix. And you're thinking, no, yes, it can happen. It can happen. Why do you think that people that go camping sometimes accidentally create a fire? It's because they put it off and they didn't do it completely. And then one leaf just happens to fly by and bingo, there is a huge wildfire going now. Well, like I said, a lot of things happens when you are doing things with solids, when you're burning solids. The cross-contamination is also a big deal. And if you're burning something solid, that means that you're producing CO2 more than if it is just the gas. So what does that mean? Well, it means that if you're cooking inside your house, you now have a CO2 problem because people will start fainting. And you may actually die because of this. To the point in which there are supposed to be in your house a lot of CO2 alarms. Why do you think people need CO2 alarms? Well, that will be because, there is a problem when you have a car and you leave it on, and you have a problem when you have a wood that you're cooking and you keep consuming wood, and now there is no more oxygen near you, and you accidentally fainted and you accidentally, killed your family and things like this. A lot of people will have to go through that, And the other one, like I said, is time management. Because if you're going to cook, like I said, let's say that you want to cook with solar and it is 10 p.m., the middle of the night. There is no light anymore. There is not even something hot. So, did you have something already made? Or are you planning to eat right now? So, time management, not nearly as comfortable. Which is why people will go to the propane problem. Which is why people will go to the propane drama. Which is why people will pay for this and will get it legally or illegally, and most people will not even care. And there will be counterfeiter problems, and there will be all kinds of issues with the propane. Because if you have to go through all of these things with wood, you're risking not getting a roof. You're risking losing all of your furniture and everything, and then having to deal with termites. That, by the way, if you have to deal with termites, is a nightmare. A real one. because you cannot get rid of termites just as you say, okay, I'm going to get rid of cockroaches. Yeah, try to get rid of cockroaches, that's very, very hard. But trying to get rid of termites is like, it's just an insane battle. And you're very likely not going to be able to win it. So, I'm going to get interrupted again. So, let's leave it up to here. Thank you for watching. See you again soon.